What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of the Jericho Report Weekly News Briefing. It is Sunday, the 21st of February, 2021. I will warn you, this may be an emotional report because it's been an emotional week, especially if you're paying attention to anything going on in Texas. People are freezing to death and going without water and going without food. We'll get into that. As always, the first link below will take you over to the Patreon post. That's where you can find all of the madness. Let's jump right into it. Dr. Fauci just issued big warning. Oh no, more COVIDs are coming in. The numbers are dropping. But no, two variants have merged into heavily mutated coronavirus. This shit's going to go on forever. I'm telling you, people. UN chief pushes global vaccination plan. Well, of course he does. Angela Merkel chimes in. Pandemic will not end until the world is vaccinated. They are really pushing the vaccine now. Oxford AstraZeneca COVID vaccine could give kids lifelong immunity as trials on children as young as 5 loom. As young as 5. Project Veritas puts this out. Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg says anti-vax science is a violation of his own platform's new policy, but I share some caution on this vaccine because we don't know the long-term effects of basically modifying people's DNA and RNA. Well, no shit, asshole. Let's see. Bill Gates calls for third vaccine. He just can't wait to push more poison, more poison, more poison. In the coming years, calling anti-vaxxers crazy and evil. Really, Bill? Put a link to that. Daily Mail puts this out. It's over between Rudy and Donald. What? Trump and Giuliani broke up after blah, blah, blah. Put a link to this. Meanwhile, Trump's new lawyer reveals traitor was spray painted outside his house. Put a link to that. On Joe Biden this week, we got Joe Biden tells CNN, I like kids better than people. Well, we know that, Joe. Put a link to that. Michigan, did you happen to see Biden's Michigan speech is a disaster? My predecessor, as my mother would say, failed to order enough vaccines. What? And I got one more in the general bin. Did you know that We the People is gone and no one noticed? Yes, the White House petition, no more. Over to financial news, how major U.S. stock indexes fared on Friday. Looks like the Dow rose 0.98 or less than 0.1%, 31,494 on the week. For the week, it only rose 35 points. A pretty flat week for the markets. I'll put a link to the recap data. Bitcoin keeps hitting new highs as crypto mania accelerates. Put a link to this from Yahoo Finance. I got another one from Yahoo Finance. Jobless claims. Another 861,000 Americans file unemployment claims. Put a link to that. Biden extends pandemic help for homeowners. Renters have to wait. You just wait until all this eviction moratorium runs. You're going to see foreclosures and people being put on the streets, and it's going to be crazy. We've said all this. You know what else is going on? This is what Biden did to our family in less than 1 month. I highly recommend stop watching my video right now. Pull this link up. Listen to what this lady has to say about insulin for her children. Yeah. Those of you with diabetes, you know what I'm talking about. It's going to get crazy, people. Power bills to the moon. Chaos and shock as electricity prices across U.S. explode with the cold air. Put a link to that. Deep freeze since Texas electricity prices soaring 10,000%. The whole state of Texas should just refuse to pay the bullshit. Ex-mayor blasted for telling Texas residents without power quit crying and looking for a handout. Really, people are without power, asshole. Let's see you go a month without power. Facebook blocks news in Australia over government's payment rules. I'm sorry, I'm slurring my speech. I'm just getting too the news this week, I swear. Apparently, the Australia wants Facebook to pay the Australian media companies for news that is shared on its platform, something like that. Do you see the damage that the alternative media community has done to the mainstream community? I just love it. Anyway, CNN and MSNBC paid Antifa agitator in Capitol riots. There's no news there. Put a link to the link. House Democrats hold hearing on slavery reparations bill that could cost trillions. What else is new? I mean, come on. And speaking of, handouts, there's a county in New York State that is trying out a universal paid income, $500 a month. What are we going to do with $500? Shit, we need $5,000. I got to buy a new flat screen. Anyway, over to New World Order and Please Stay News. This is where I stop and ask you to share this video. Important stuff coming up here. Let's see, we got a breaking news banner. You got to check out my Twitter for that. Apparently a plane fell apart over Denver. That link's on my Twitter. Democratic Congresswoman wants Truth Commission to target white supremacy and reign in far-right media, U.S. Capitol riot. So now we got another one of these this week, I think. Yes, this guy. In wake of Capitol riot, we need a 9/11 Commission white nationalism task force. I'll put a link to this. Joe Biden says former military and police fueling growth of white supremacy groups. Really? Yeah, read the MIAC report that came out over 10 years ago that we were all screaming about back then. Same shit. Biden administration at the same time could use executive order to take away Americans' guns. Yes, indeed. The White House put out a press release this week. What is it? 3 years since the Parkland shooting. If you scroll down here and look just read this run line. The administration will not wait for another mass shooting to heed that call. We will take action to end our epidemic of gun violence in our schools, yada yada. Today I'm calling for Congress to enact comprehensive gun law reforms, including, pay attention, requiring background checks on all gun sales, banning assault weapons and high-capacity magazines, and eliminating immunity for gun manufacturers who knowingly put weapons of war on our streets. I'll put a link. Hasn't even been another false flag shooting. They're already coming after the guns. Meanwhile, check this out. These are the 3 American cities that the Biden administration is planning to start releasing migrants in. Be advised, Town Hall puts that out. Democrats unveiled Joe Biden's sweeping immigration reform, which would put 11 million on pathway to citizenship, give dreamers immediate status, blah, blah, blah. And it bans the word alien, but it does not say an amnesty. I'll put a link to that from the Daily Mail. I got a couple more here. While state governments are ending their mask mandates, President Biden is going full mask tyrant retard. Put a link to that. Police show up at woman's door after she posts anti-mask joke on Facebook. I think she said she was going to go dump some trash on some governor's lawn or some shit like that. The police show up. Man, we need to talk to you about your Facebook post. Be advised, watch what you're saying online. Pastor has been jailed up in Canada for preaching church. I'll put a link to that. The Guardian puts this out. Fury, do not resuscitate notices given to COVID patients with learning disabilities. Yes, why save the slaves that aren't capable of doing anything? That's exactly what it is, people. And I got one more. Orwellian YouTube censors all videos from academic conference on dangers of censorship. Let's see, over to World War III news here. We got the White House press secretary who was asked, why did Joe Biden sign an executive order giving China access to the U.S. power grid as the power grid's going out all over the place? That's a good question. Put a link to that. Meanwhile, in Russia, Putin announces total independence from Rothschild-controlled U.S. dollar. I'm sure the New World Order is not happy about that. Biden art of Iran concession. The new U.S. administration hopes giving up leverage will get Tehran to talk. Doubtful, but maybe you can give another, plane full of money. Syrian army says Israeli jets targeted Damascus countryside after Iran warned there would be repercussions. Put a link to that from RT News. Meanwhile, France rejoins Japan and North Korea surveillance in the East China Sea. Speaking of France, French military jet cut off village's power supply by flying. Nice job, assholes. Left us without power. This should never happen. What are you... ISIS strikes back. 10,000 ISIS fighters poison new wave of terror after bloodthirsty jihadists exploit COVID to rebuild. That's interesting. Speaking of, let's see, 30 Taliban militants killed during bomb-making class. Do you automatically get snack bars when it's an accident? I don't know. I got a couple more in World War III. VP Kamala Harris has allegedly begun talking to world leaders as Joe Biden plays video games. I don't know what's going on with that link. And MI6 apologizes for past treatment and ban on gay spies. Some of this news, boy, I tell you. Over to Earth changes in 2012 news now. Be advised. Emotional Make Electric probably coming up. In earthquakes, we got a 6.1 on the 18th, 6.2 on the 18th, 17th, we had a 6.1, 6.2 on the 16th. I got it set up for 6 points and above for the past week. I'll put a link to the earthquake data. There is a volcano going off somewhere that I can't remember. I didn't have a link on it, but it's somewhere out there. Texas, here's the stuff, man. Texas hit with massive power outages. Winter freeze leaves more than 4 million in the dark. I'll just try to go through these. Look at these people. This is people lining up for food. This is the line outside of a grocery store in Texas. Look at this. These are the people that are going to be dangerous when shit really hits the fan. I realize things are tough for a lot of people right now, but people like myself and so many others for the past 10 plus years have been telling people to be prepared. You should have a minimum of 6 months of food and water put away just in case shit happens. These people are going hungry, and these are the people you're going to have to defend yourselves from. This is why you should be ready to defend yourselves, your home, your family, your supplies, your preps. Because when people go hungry, shit's going to get real. This is not a third world country. This is Houston, Texas. Spotted line of people with buckets of water filling up from a spigot. Millions have no water or are under a boil water advisory. Shit's real, people. Let's see. 11-year-old boy froze to death in his family's trailer while Ted Cruz, of course, politicians are going to get out of Dodge. What's new there? 30 dead in Texas. Look at this. Look at this. People are freezing to death. People are freezing to death. You need to know how to survive in cold weather and hot weather. You ask yourself this question, and if nothing else, this should be a learning experience for everybody who's not in the prepper community. If we lost, I mean, it's nice having lights and heat, you know, power and gas and running water. But ask yourself, could you survive if this shit was suddenly gone? It's so crazy how many people don't know how to survive. Can you build a fire? Do you have an alternative source of heat? Do you have a source of water? I don't care if it's 6 months of ramen noodles and just milk jugs full of water, tap water you put in your basement. It is just nuts to see what's happening in Texas. I can't believe it. Controlled service interruptions possible. City utilities issue alert as extreme natural gas shortage. This is out of Springfield, Missouri, I believe. It's not just Texas. Shit's happening all over. We got a tornado, killed 3, injured 10. 160 mile an hour NWS officials say. This is Brunswick County, wherever that is. I think that's up north. Water leaks. So we got other news going on. Water leaks indicate new damage at Fukushima nuclear plant. We got that on top of everything else. We got Los Angeles slashes school police budget, but replaces officers with climate coaches. We got Bill Gates on global green reset, now they're calling it. It's an all-out effort like World War, but it's against greenhouse gases. Rush Limbaugh, in the dumb news this week, Rush Limbaugh, conservative radio host, died at 70, and if Planet 9 exists, why can no one see it? Because it's black and we're all racist. And I'm sorry for getting loud. It's just all week this week I'm watching videos of people, this lady's literally taking her cell phone and taking a picture and saying, look, there's a broken pipe in my wall, and she's screaming and freaking out, and I'm just thinking, how about you go shut the water off? You know, this is basic shit, people. Know how to turn off your utilities if there's an emergency. Your water, your gas, your electric. Know how to do this stuff. It's amazing to me how many people are going to die when shit hits the fan because they don't have basic common sense. Anyway, over to strange and bizarre news. We got another one of these dumb bitches this week that put Gorilla Glue on her head. I don't feel sorry for you at all. Marriage proposal goes off the rails when a woman goes, she does too, she goes full demonic. It's a good thing you learned this before you married her. Influencer 20s who sprayed perfume in her puppy's... I'm just going to hold my... She sprayed perfume in her puppy's eyes to get more followers on Instagram. No prison for woman who shoved white bitch into the path of a bus. Put a link to that from Breitbart. Gunman shoots 8 people near Sparta Station in Philadelphia. People are losing their minds. Arlington woman dead after fight over a political sign. People. This lady right here, a Nevada sheriff, releases video of deputy fatally shooting mother holding a knife. She wasn't just holding a knife, she charged at that officer. That was definitely a justified shooting. Crazy, bizarre, craziness going on. Happening now, COVID-19 positive patients currently being transferred out of the Holiday Inn in the heart of Melbourne with garbage bags over their head. Put a link to that. Fauci wins $1 million Israeli prize for defending science. Meanwhile, the Biden press secretary gets testy with a Fox reporter, defends boys competing in girls' sports. I got a couple more here. New York principal sends parents pamphlet asking them to rate their whiteness. I'm not even going to read the rest of this. And I got one more. Trump's impeachment acquittal sends Rosie O'Donnell over the edge. She's going to kill everybody. That's all the news I got for this week. For other news, please check my favorites. Man, you know, True Stream Media put out a great video talking about where they've been. Drivers struggle to control vehicles on icy Austin roads. I mean, there's just so much madness. Thank you to everybody who continues to put out. I see the Dimcat and Patriot Nerds got some good ones over there. Everybody putting out content, keeping everybody informed. You guys are doing awesome work. And I got a couple shout outs, a couple feel-good stories to wrap the report up with. Suspect is dead after 12-year-old shoots intruders, blows his head off. And check it out. Whoa, this 82-year-old vet beat home invader to death with shotgun. Shout out to those two. That's all the news I got for this week, guys. If you like the support, please give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. I think it sucked. It's the worst of YouTube. Please rate it. Helps move around. You can also follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, BitChute. All my links are at the bottom. You can support me on Patreon or directly with PayPal. I apologize for being so worked up this week, but I want to thank you for giving me a few minutes to decompress, because this whole week has just been like watching everything that's going on, and you know, we're dealing with Nicole ourselves, and we got ice all over here, and it's like the biggest thing we could take away from this week is we all need to ask ourselves, if shit hit the fan, if the power went out, if the water went out, if you had no natural gas service, could you survive? Yes, it would be inconvenient, but could you survive? Do you have, like I said, I don't care if it's 100 packs of ramen noodles and some water that you stored in some used milk jugs. Something. Have something. Otherwise, you're not going to make it. Shit can hit the fan in all kinds of different ways. Be prepared, as Frankie McDonald would say. You know, I don't know. A week of madness. What's coming up next week, I have no idea. Whew. Please at least let it warm up a little bit. Let's get rid of some of the ice. You guys take care, stay safe, remain vigilant, be ready for anything at any time. I will see you on the next one.